You have a few months left before you and the president leave office. Do you think that you will succeed in getting Guantanamo Bay closed?
That is my hope and expectation.
We're going to do our best to try to get this closed, and it's our expectation that that's what we'll do. I can't lay out for you exactly the path for how that's going to take place right now, but the president has made clear that this is a priority.
Vice President Biden and White House Press Secretary Josh Earnest reaffirming the administration's vow to close Gitmo. It's been picking up the pace of transferring detainees to other countries. Retired Army Lieutenant Colonel Bob McGinnis thinks this is a deadly mistake. Strong words, sir. Deadly? What's going to happen?
Well, Stuart, look what these guys do. They return to the battlefield, or some, of course, go off and die. But the reality is we're seeing a very tough message in a time in which our intelligence community says this war is going to continue for decades. You give away Gitmo, you have no place to put them except here in the United States, and nobody wants that. You know, what we need to do, Stuart, is separate the sharks from the guppies. You know, we have some pretty tough people out there, Takfiri, that you're not going to be able to turn around. They need to be held somewhere so they don't continue to do 9/11 type attacks. And so, you know, our alternative is not very good. There are some of those types of people, those sharks in Gitmo. You close it down, you send it to what? UAE, Yemen, places where they're not going to be detained. They're going to be, you know, rock stars going out doing some pretty dastardly things to Americans and our allies. So it's a bad idea.
Have both said that Gitmo may well be a recruitment tool for ISIS. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I think that's an old and a sad story. No, it's not that case. You know, they hate us for who we are, the West. They hate us for our prosperity, and they hate us, as we know in their own literature, for our Christianity as a general culture. So, you know, I don't buy that. I think it's something the Obama administration has hid behind. It doesn't hold up any water.
Bob, I just want to draw your attention to something we're just learning from the Defense Department. They say that the U.S. Navy did fire 3 warning shots in the Straits of Hormuz on those approaching Iranian boats. Now, do you think, now this has just been released, do you think that we should change the rules of engagement in the Straits?
Well, this has been going on off and on, Stuart, for years. The fast attack vehicles are operated by IRGC, which are under the direct command of the Grand Ayatollah Khomeini, who is trying to be a hegemon in the entire region. If he can intimidate the U.S., then he's got it. You know, he really has settled the score. He already is killing Americans through his conduits, his proxies in places like Syria, certainly in Iraq. He's engaged in operations in Yemen. He threatens Israel. So we need to recognize that this is a war that continues in spite of Mr. Obama's Iran nuclear deal, of course, which really has tamed him in terms of what he's doing against the Iranians. He won't push back. And yet, I think those naval vessels are in danger, and they ought to push back much harder than just a couple shots in the water.
Well, it was 3 warning shots from a .50 caliber gun. That's what happened. Lieutenant Colonel Bob McGinnis, thanks very much for joining us, sir. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Stuart.